Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Hope you're all having an amazing day. So we have one more game week left until the World Cup break, and in today's video we're gonna talk about that game week. So let's just quickly take a look at my game week 15 game week 15 team and see how it did. So for game week 15 it was an average game week for me and a slightly disappointing one. I ended up on only 57 points. Basically I only got five players returned from my team. So actually in Saturday night my rank was around 120k, so it was a big green arrow for me on Saturday with only 4 players playing, so only De Bruyne, Haaland, Cancelo and James Maddison played on Saturday for me, and I had around it was around 30 points I believe, or 28 rather, with Cancelo's -2, and it looked like a potentially very good game week. But then Sunday was quite disappointing for me. I had 7 players playing on Sunday and only 2 of them got returns, so only Ben White got a clean sheet, but also he got a yellow card, so no bonus points there. And Kieran Trippier was the only other player to get some returns for me on Sunday, and the rest of the team didn't really perform. Guaita and Luke Shaw, they lost their clean sheets very quickly at the beginning of their games. Jordan Bowen and Firmino didn't do anything in their games, and so yeah, 57 points, and I ended up on a small red arrow. I was 202 I believe. Let me just check at the start of the game week. No, 200,000 exactly, so 19,000 places green arrow, and to be honest it could have been a lot worse. Basically not only Salah in the last game destroyed my rank, that was the biggest problem, and the fact that all my players in Sunday didn't perform, but I guess that this makes my overall target of hitting 100k until the World Cup break a lot harder. Basically I will most likely not get to the target unless I have an amazing game week 16. Now as you can see, I made no transfers, and the transfer I was trying to make was Roberto Firmino out for Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton. At the end it ended up not mattering because both of them got 2 points, and the reason why the transfer didn't happen was basically the game was down in the last 30 minutes before the deadline, and I was at work, and I took a break and I tried to log in about 20 minutes before the deadline, and I couldn't log in my account, so I just left it as it was, and De Bruyne was my captain, and the Man City news didn't really matter for me. I decided the day before that I was going to captain De Bruyne no matter if Haaland started the game or not. So yeah, that's my team for game week 15. Now let's just look at how my team is lining up for game week 16. So for this game week I have 2 free transfers, and as you know we only have 1 game week left until the World Cup, so I can only focus on that game week. There is really no point of getting players for after the World Cup, because if you don't know, we will have unlimited transfers for game week 17. So we are gonna look at some game week punts today, and when we look at my team, there are a couple of players that I think I should consider transferring out, and let's just go to the transfers page. And as you can see, I have two free transfers and no money in the bank. There is really no point, I believe, in taking hits in this game week, because you only have one game week to pay out that hit taken. I don't think it's worth it, so I will definitely not be making 3 transfers, only 2. Now there are a couple of players that I'm looking at transferring out, and I'm waiting for Mitrovic news. As you know, he missed the game against Man City, but I'm not sure it's it's an injury that will keep him out for a longer time. But with the World Cup coming up, I am patiently waiting to see if he is training with the team. If he does end up playing in this game week, I will most likely keep him. He plays against Man United, and actually at home, he plays Man United at home, and I fancy him for that game week. But it will come down to whether or not he is fit. If he isn't fit for that game week, he will be one of the 2 players that I will transfer out. And Roberto Firmino, I would like to get him out as well, but he plays Southampton at home, and even though he has been an awful pick for me, he hasn't done anything since I got him, and he basically plays in a midfield for Liverpool. But I expect that game against Southampton to be a very high scoring game for Liverpool. I can see them scoring like 4 or 5 goals at least. So even Firmino, who is awful, might get some returns in that game, maybe like an assist or something. So I will try to keep him and not transfer him out. And then as soon as the Gw16 is finished, he is out of my team, and most likely for the rest of the season I won't only own him because he was awful for me. Now Bowen is the other player that I think I will transfer out. West Ham just don't look good offensively, they don't create chances, and they play Leicester this game week, who at this point I am convinced that Leicester have a great defense. They keep getting clean sheet after clean sheet every game week, so I don't really see many points from Bowen this game week. So these 2 players will most likely be the 2 players that I will transfer out. And if we look at the fixtures, basically I am focusing on 2 or 3 fixtures here. So Liverpool versus Southampton is one fixture that in which I want to get some players from. Spurs against Leeds is another, and the third one is Brighton against Aston Villa. So I want players from Brighton, Spurs or Liverpool for this game week. Obviously Man City is another one as well, but I already own 3 Man City players. And by the way, if you have Cancelo, don't transfer him out for this game week, because he will be available even though he had a red card. So basically he will serve his 1 match punishment in the FA Cup midweek game week, so he is available for Gw16. I see a lot of people are transferring him out and they probably don't know this fact, but João Cancelo is available, and unless Pep benches him, he can play this game. Now, like I said, I'm looking at the Liverpool game, the Liverpool fixture as a high scoring game, and I want to have a player from their team. Now obviously Salah is the obvious choice, but I can't afford Salah. unless I transfer out De Bruyne. And that transfer, I'm not really a fan of it, because it feels a lot very sideways to me. I think they both have a great fixture and they both can deliver points, so I don't see a point in going De Bruyne to Salah this game week. And if I transfer him in for Bowen, basically I don't have enough money in the bank to place an unplaying striker instead of Mitrovic, so Salah doesn't work for me. However, if Salah doesn't work, the second best option becomes Darwin Núñez, and if I get Núñez in my team for this game week, I have 6 million money left in the bank. So in this case, I could go for a player from another fixture that I think is good, and that's Brighton, who play at home, Aston Villa at home. Yes, so I could get a Brighton midfielder for this game week. Unfortunately, once again, I can't afford Trossard. He would be my pick. He plays as a striker at the moment, with Danny Welbeck being out of form, so Trossard is the best option. Now Pascal Gross, I can afford him, so I could go for Pascal Gross and Darwin in my team. Now there is one problem with this. Basically the problem is that in the last 2 game weeks, Pascal Gross, even though he scored 2 goals, he actually plays as a right fullback and not in the attacking third. So Brighton's 4 attacking players have been Trossard up front, March from the right, Lallana playing as a number 10, and then this Mitoma guy playing from the left. So that leaves Pascal Gross playing as a right fullback. So that's the thing that puts me off of getting Pascal Gross. Now I can't afford Trossard, and Pascal Gross, like I said, he's playing out of position, so I won't most likely get him. And actually the player I will most likely end up as having as a one game punt is Mitoma. So I watched this game, their game against Wolves away. He scored a goal in that game, but other than that, he was basically, in my opinion, the best player on the pitch. He looked amazing. Wolves had a red card, and the foul for the red card was on him, and it was about a half a meter away from the penalty box, so that could have easily been a penalty, in which case he would have another assist. Also, numerous times he had a great pass into the striker, into Trossard or Danny Welbeck when he came on. He looked sharp, he's fast, he's playing on the left side, left wing, so I like him. I'm highly considering him as a one game week punt. Now I wouldn't recommend him for long term, because he could easily lose his place in the starting 11 if at some point Trossard comes back playing from the left. He's going on the bench, but like I said, we are only looking at players for one game week, and I think he's a good choice for this game week against Aston Villa, because he will start. Like I said, he was amazing in the last game. He will get his chance again, and I think he will have a good game week. I can see Brighton scoring a lot of goals in this game, so these 2 transfers are the the two transfers I'm looking at for Gw16. Now, if I do that, I would basically have to make a choice whether or not to play Trippier at home against Chelsea or Luke Shaw away against Fulham. Now, I think it's gonna come down to whether or not Mitrovic is fit for this game week or not. If Mitrovic is fit, then I will keep him in my team most likely, and I will end up benching Luke Shaw because I do fancy Fulham to score in this game, but only if Mitrovic plays. So in that case I would leave Mitrovic and I would bench Shaw, and basically I would have enough money to go for Trossard in the midfield as my transfer, and then with the rest of the money I could get Darwin Núñez instead of Firmino and not instead of Mitrovic. So this is another transfer possibility, and once again it's going to come down to whether or not Mitrovic is fit. So as you can see, I can afford this transfer as well. So in this case I would bench Luke Shaw and I would play Trippier. But if Mitrovic isn't fit for this game week, then I will play Luke Shaw and I will bench Trippier against Chelsea, and I would do for the two transfers that I talked about before. Now, if you're looking for a defender for this game week, I don't know if well, I wouldn't transfer out Trippier because even though I don't fancy a clean sheet in this game week against Chelsea, I would lose 0.4 if I transferred him out, so I definitely won't be doing that. I will just bench him. But if you're considering transferring him out, then a one game week punt in the defense that could potentially work would be Ivan Perisic from Tottenham. Now, in the game against Liverpool, if you didn't notice that, he basically played as the second striker or the second most attacking player after Harry Kane, because Spurs have no attackers available at the moment. So Son is injured, Richarlison is injured, and Dejan Kulusevski is just coming back from injury. So I do fancy Spurs to do well in this game week against Leeds. So if it's basically down to whether or not Kulusevski is fit enough to start this game. So if Kulusevski does start this game together with Kane up front, then Perisic probably is not a good pick because he has a high potential of getting benched. But if we get some news that Kulusevski is not yet fit enough to start and can only play from the bench, then Perisic might again start as a second striker in this game week. And against Liverpool he hit the post twice actually, so he was very close to scoring from that position. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Once again, if Kulusevski isn't fit, then Perisic is another good option for a 1 week punt. So those are the players that I want to transfer in my team. The captaincy will remain on Haaland for me, and yes, that's pretty much it. This is a very short video. I don't have a lot of time, so thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next one. Goodbye.